guys, and welcome back to another video with your two favorite book nerds, Amy
and Kelly.
Today we're going to be talking about the books that we read in March. I think I started last time. Do you want to start this? I don't know who started this time.
There you go.
Yeah, works for me. Okay, so I read a total of 7 books in March, and the books that I read were the Frozen River by Errol Lawn, Tell Me What You Did by Carter Wilson, Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney, The Daughter of Dr. Moreau, Untamed Shore, Certain Dark Things, and The Seventh Veil of Salome, all by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. 2 of those books were 4 stars and 5 were 3 stars, giving me an average rating of 3.3 stars.
Alright, so I read 10 books in March. Signal to Noise, Certain Dark Things, Seventh Veil of Salome, Untamed Shore, all by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. Oh, and Velvet Was the Night. I read 13 by Steve Kavanaugh, and then I started a reread of the Dresden Files series, so I read Stormfront, Full Moon, and Grave Peril, all by Jim Butcher, and then I read Hall of the Mountain King by Judith Tarr. 1, 2, 3 were 4 stars, 5 were 3 stars, and 1 3.5 star. For an average of 3.4 stars.
You did some reading.
Yes, indeed.
In March.
Yes, indeed.
Dang. Alright, so in March, I read a total of 2,252 pages, a lot of 2s, for an average book length of 322. My longest book was The Frozen River, and my shortest book was Certain Dark Things.
So I read 3,381 pages for an average length of 338. My shortest book was Certain Dark Things as well, and my longest book was Full Moon.
For genres, I had 2 books that were historical fiction, I think. It was really hard to try and figure out genres for a Silvia Moreno-Garcia book, so
kind of.
I just picked one and rolled with it. I had 3 mystery thriller books, 1 sci-fi, and 1 fantasy.
So I had 4 fantasy, 1 science fiction, 2 mystery thrillers, 2 historical fiction, and 1 magical realism. Again, with the Silvia Moreno-Garcia.
Yeah. Authors. I had 3 authors that were new to me. Carter Wilson, Alice Feeney, and Errol Lawn, and I will read from all of them except for probably Carter Wilson. Yeah, although Alice Feeney's walking on the line.
Thin ice.
Yeah.
Thin ice. Okay, so of my 10 books, I had a total of 4 authors. 3 of them were repeats, which I will continue to read. That would be Jim Butcher, Judith Tarr, and Silvia Moreno-Garcia. 1 new, which was Steve Kavanaugh, and I'm on the fence. I didn't really care for the book, but I'm thinking if I read one of the earlier books, I'd like it. So maybe I'll read from him again. Maybe. Doubtful, but maybe.
And then our final category, stat category, is format. So I had 2 audiobooks, 2 physical books, and 3 ebooks. Which surprised me that I had more ebooks and physical than audio this month. And still got away with 7 books.
Yeah.
Dude, I think that I might have to get a Kindle or something. I don't know, because like reading on my laptop, maybe it's just like I like reading on my laptop. I like the big screen. And it's just like, I can just sit there and just click and I don't have to hold the book. And like with my phone, I have a little clicker thing, just flip the pages that way. And I read faster with that.
Yeah.
It makes me sad because I like physical books, but
yeah, it's handy.
Ebooks.
It's handy. And sometimes you get really chunky books and it's easier to read the ebook because, yeah, holding that physical book is a little difficult.
Yeah, it's a workout.
Yeah. I read 2 physical books, 5 ebooks, and 3 audiobooks.
Okay. On to the books.
The books.
So, we have an entire video dedicated to all of the Silvia Moreno-Garcia books. So, yeah, all of them that we read in March for our March Madness bracket this year. So go check out that video so you can hear our thoughts and see our rankings and see which one was the winning book. But yeah, I am not going to be discussing any of these in this video because we already did that.
Yeah.
You already know my thoughts.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So
go watch that video.
yeah, go watch it. So that leaves me with 3 books left to talk about. We have Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. So this book is about a couple that goes on a trip to try and save their marriage, and like the wife ended up winning like this overnight stay at this Airbnb type situation through work, and so her and her husband go because it's like their last ditch effort to try and like save what's left of the marriage pretty much. But neither one of them really wants to save it. I don't know, it's just like, okay, they're doing this because they have to, they feel like they have to, so yeah. But anyway, they get there, there's a huge snowstorm that hits, and then they also, like, the Airbnb is like an old church that somebody turned into a house or whatever, and it's like super creepy, and they start experiencing like weird things, like the power goes out and then the heat goes out, and then there's like somebody outside the window that's not one of them, and then their dog goes missing. There's just like a whole bunch of things that just like randomly start happening.
That escalated quick.
Yeah, pretty much. That's how it was. And so yeah, they are there just trying to kind of survive and escape, but it's like not quite that high of stakes because like, well, maybe towards the end, but like, I don't know. The book was really slow up until the end part of it, like the last, I don't know, quarter, when things actually started happening, and the twist did get me. It did. I was not expecting that. I didn't like how it ended, like the very end of it. I thought it was really stupid and it made me mad, but I don't know, I guess, I don't know, it was just I just don't know how, you can't really like describe this book too much because obviously like it's a thriller, so it's hard to describe without giving things away. But I don't know, I didn't dislike it, but I didn't love it either. Like if it had been a little bit more stuff happening throughout the book, then maybe it would have been better. I don't know, it was just like slow, and then when things finally started happening, it's like, oh my god.
Then they happened.
I'm not going to be very good at describing these books because honestly I read these a long time ago and I don't remember them that well. I'm just going to throw that out there. I just really don't remember them that well. So on to the next one.
No.
Tell Me What You Did by Carter Wilson. This book is about a girl who has a podcast where she invites people to come on and confess to things that they have done. So some people confess to like, oh, I stole something, or I like took someone's dog, or like I murdered someone, like whatever. And one of the people that ends up calling in is claiming to be the person that killed her mother when she was a kid. And like the podcaster had like witnessed the murder happen and all of that, and so she's like, but she has a secret about the murderer and how she knows for a fact that this guy can't be the murderer. So yeah, she's like, who is this guy that's pretending to be the murderer? And it just is kind of her trying to outwit him, I guess, in a way, and like figure out who this guy really is. But then he was also trying to make her confess to certain things, and kind of like turns the tables on her and makes her become the subject of one of the podcast episodes and reveal her big secrets and all of that. Yeah. I
can tell you didn't like it though. Sounds interesting, but
it sounds a lot more interesting than it was. this was kind of boring. It was just like, I felt like I was reading the same thing over and over again. It's a thick book. It did not have to be this big. It really didn't. And I really didn't like her, the main character. She was just like, oh, like, I'm gonna kill you and blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, oh, you're messing with the wrong person. I'm just like, girl, please. Girl, please, okay? Like, he's got you by the balls right now, okay? Like, and you're gonna sit here and you're gonna cuss him out on your live podcast and like, okay, honey, calm down. Maybe just play along, figure it out, you know? I have some laughs. Like, it wasn't terrible, and I'm trying to think. The ending of this was okay. It wasn't like a huge shocker, like you kind of could see how it was all going to play out. I wanted it to be better. I was disappointed, and that's really all I remember, just being disappointed. Okay, the last book I have is The Frozen River by Ariel Vaughn. Normally I would say that I'm not going to discuss this book because it was our book club book, and we usually have live book club discussions, but last month our live stream had technical difficulties.
Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so we never actually got to hear our thoughts on the book club book last month.
Forgot about that. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so this book is about, oh gosh, I don't remember her name.
I didn't talk about it last month because we didn't know until later that it didn't work.
Well, we can talk about it together.
We can.
We can talk about it together. This is like our little mini book club for you guys, okay? So Martha is a midwife in the 1700s in Maine. And this book follows along with her life. And in the very beginning, she gets called to the scene of... Well, she gets... Well, it's not really the scene.
No, not the scene.
Yeah, this guy is found frozen in the river.
Right.
And...
they chop him out.
Yeah.
And they bring him back to the tavern, the inn. And then she's called in to inspect the body and kind of give a cause of death. She's a, like, practicing midwife. Has been for many years. Martha is, like, in her 50s.
Yeah. At
this point. So they call her in to give her, like, her ruling. And she rules that it was murder. But as she is examining the body and talking about it with these men, this new doctor in town, who's a Harvard graduate, comes in and basically, like, shoves her aside and proceeds to say it was an accident. It was accidental death. So Martha is very much believes that he's wrong.
Yeah.
And kind of sets out to prove it. But there's a hitch in that Martha is friends with a woman who was sexually assaulted in the town, and there's going to be a trial. And it turns out that the dead man is one of the accused. So, yeah. I enjoyed it. I liked it quite a bit.
Yeah, I did as well. I thought it was really well done, which surprised me because it's a historical fiction book, and normally I don't like those, but oddly enough, last month both of the historical fiction books got the highest ratings for me, so maybe I do like historical fiction now that I'm older. Good historical fiction. Yeah.
And Martha was a really good character. I mean, a really, like, strong, kind of outspoken woman for her time, and her husband Ephraim was, like, amazing.
The best.
Amazing.
Absolute best.
Amazing. And I think I remember that one of the things that kind of knocked it down to a 4 for me from a 5 was I felt like sometimes the way characters talked and sometimes the way Martha acted was a little too modern for late 1700s. Little bit. But she was a great character. And what I guess I did like is that, you know, usually in stories set in this time, which at first I had thought it was going the witchcraft way, but this is actually a little later in time than that. So, but it didn't even start to go that way. She was never, like, persecuted or accused of anything. She was pushed aside.
Mm-hmm.
She was diminished and dismissed, but she was never actively like, well, I mean, she was in danger there towards the end.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because she knew about medicine and a midwife. But there was that one scene, remember when she was attending the doctor's wife and she like shoved him aside and then gave him a dressing down afterwards?
Mm-hmm. It was such a good scene.
It was a great scene.
Yeah. There were a lot of good scenes like throughout this book, and like so the ending was crazy. Shit hit the fan.
Really crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Really crazy.
Yeah.
But I think
really
what I really liked, one of the things I really liked about this book was this, for the time, obviously women had their place and men had their very strict gender roles. But instead of that being almost like a negative thing, I mean, Martha did kind of push back against that somewhat. Like, you will listen to me. I don't care if I'm a woman or not. You will listen to me. But the way that it took those gender roles and made them positive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when she was giving that doctor the dressing down, like, basically she said, this is women's work. And you are a man, and you will stay out of this woman's space. And I was like, yeah, queen. It's like, if you're going to make this a woman's space, then it will be a woman's space, and you're not allowed.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, hell yeah. I loved that about that book. So, anyway.
Yeah. Very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely recommend giving that one a read.
And still a mystery thriller on top of all the social commentary, too. That was really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she was a real-life woman. Like, this book is based off of a biography that was written about this woman. Because she kept a journal. And then there was a biography written based on her journal. And this was based on that. So, it was pretty cool.
That's all I got on my books.
Alright, well, I am also not going to talk about any of the Silvia Moreno-Garcia books. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, half of them. I also read 13. We just had the book club discussion book for this, so I'm not going to talk about that one either. Just to say I gave it 3 stars. It was okay. So you can go watch those 2 videos. So of the 4 that I have left, 3 of them were the first 3 books in the Dresden Files series by Jim Butcher. So this series features Harry Dresden, who is a wizard. You're a wizard, Harry.
Yeah.
Basically, in this world, it's like the supernatural is not exactly hiding, but it's not really known about either. It's almost like parts of it are like a secret society kind of thing, but it's not like there's any like, you will not tell dire consequences. It's just nobody notices anything. But Harry has an ad in the Yellow Pages as Chicago's only working professional wizard. So he actually has an office, and he's listed as, he can solve mysteries and find things and things like that. He also consults with the police department, who has a special investigations unit, which is when anything is really too weird to be explained, it gets shuffled off to this special investigations unit, which is where all the, they handle all the supernatural stuff. And pretty much the police department has them, but nobody takes them seriously kind of thing. But the lieutenant in that is Karen Murphy, and she will generally contract with Harry to come in and help solve these mysteries. So the first one is Stormfront, and this is a kind of 2-prong plot. First of all, there's some very strange murders going on where basically people's chests are exploding because it's like this magical force has come and ripped their hearts out, and their chest just explodes when their hearts are ripped out. Nice. So there's been a couple of those. And then Harry also gets hired as a private investigator by a woman to find her missing husband. And so as of course things go along, Harry's trying to figure out who this wizard practicing black arts, it would be black magic to work on a body in that way. The power you would need would be black magic. So he's trying to find this like black wizard and find this husband of this woman. Okay, so the second book in the series is Fool Moon. So Fool instead of Full. Okay. So in this one, Harry gets called in because there have been this series of murders where people look like they've been ripped apart by animals, but such damage that it would take such a large animal, and they're finding paw prints around them that look like wolf prints. So Harry gets involved with this, and as he's kind of trying to investigate and figure out what could have caused this, he's also come into contact with a crime lord in Chicago, which is an interesting, pretty interesting character. And this was not my favorite book of the series because there's a few things that are just like, ugh. But there is one scene where Harry decides he's gonna go in and make this entrance, and he's got his magic all gathered up, and he like blows the doors off this place, and it's kind of a cool scene. Anyway, so as part of this, like, this crime lord wants to hire him too because he thinks he's being threatened by the same person that is either controlling these animals that are ripping people apart, or he's in with them, something in there. So he kind of gets embroiled in that, and it's obviously, as you can guess, a werewolf themed sort of book. The third book I finished is Grave Peril, and in this book,
Zombies, please say zombies.
No, that's later though, because there's one book that you would really enjoy, because I'm not gonna say it now, but it's so cool. It's one of my favorite scenes in the whole series. It's so awesome, and it's a zombie theme. This one is ghost themed. So as it opens up, Harry and a friend of his named Michael, who is a what does he call him? Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. Basically, Michael is a knight of God. Like, he actually has a sword given to him by God to defeat demons and things like this. The way that Jim Butcher writes about religion in these books, I so appreciate.
It sounds like
it's really good.
It sounds like the Michael sword.
Yeah.
In Supernatural.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, Harry and Michael are going into this hospital because there have been a unusual number of infant deaths in this hospital, and they've had reports. Anyway, they go in, there's this ghost that is coming in, this ghost of some woman who has lost her children, and so she's going in and trying to take these children. Anyway, that's the kickoff, which is, and of course they discover through this that something is going on that is riling up these ghosts, like really, like, you know, like powering them up, juicing them up, driving them mad, this kind of thing. And we're also introduced in this book to a place called the Never Never, which is like the spiritual world in this series. So, and any spiritual world, so like the land of fairy is in there, the spiritual realm, all of this stuff. So basically whatever is riling these ghosts up is trying to create enough power so that the veil between the Never Never and the real world falls apart, and then all these things can come through. The monsters can get out and everything. And so Michael and Harry have to go and stop it. And again, that was probably one of my favorite books beyond the zombie book. But I'm getting to that one. I got like 2 more books to get to the zombie book. I can't wait. I love the zombie book. Love it. Okay, I'm not gonna say. I'm gonna do like a teaser.
Okay. I'm just gonna.
But I'm not gonna
start reading these books.
I'm not gonna say.
Really good.
Yeah. So that's the first 3 books in the series. I have to. Basically, there's a new book coming out this year, and there's already a book that I have not read yet, and it's like 17 books long. So I thought I'd just go ahead and start a reread. Harry's a really good character. I mean, he's just a blundering, like, he's no finesse, he's all blast, you know, so in that way some of these things are really fun to read. It has, as you can imagine, a pretty noir tone to it. They're detective, PI, you know, kind of thing. One of the really cool things I like about these books too is the detail that technology doesn't work around magic. So magic like shorts technology out. So Harry is described as being like well over 6 feet tall, and he always dresses in like this Western kind of duster, and he has to drive a Volkswagen Beetle or Bug because only older cars will work. Anything with newer cars with like electrical systems and stuff like that don't work. They'll quit, they'll short out, and even his blue Beetle has problems running sometimes. But like in his apartment, he doesn't have electricity, so he has no electrical lights because they won't work. He has like an old-fashioned ice box because a refrigerator wouldn't work. He doesn't have a water heater, so he has to take cold showers and baths because that wouldn't work. So I think what I like most is how far Jim Butcher takes it, you know? I think it's really interesting. Anyway, one thing I don't like is, if you've read you know what I'm talking about. Harry is a very old-fashioned kind of guy. So chivalry is a thing to him. And he talks about how, you know, and of course some of the women in the book call him chauvinistic rather than chivalrous, and there is very much a male gaze in this book. So like any of the female characters, the very first thing that's described about them is their appearance. Generally in effect, or in relation to how sexy they are. Even the police lieutenant Karen, almost the first thing, like every female is a bombshell in this book, which kind of goes with the noir detective sort of thing. So, and I can almost forgive it if it was a character trait of Harry's, but it's also in the writing. And I don't know if Jim Butcher's just insensitive to that, or if he's just taking that PI detective thing, just taking it a little too far. But it does get a little old, but if you can get past that, the magic is cool, the world is cool, the characters are amazing. There is a book coming up that has a scene in it that I really don't like, that kind of goes along with that bombshell sex thing that I didn't appreciate it, but I got past it. It was alright. I'm trying to think. In Full Moon, there's also a character in there that is very much portrayed as the sex kitten, even though it's a werewolf. And I just didn't. And the fact that it was the only female in this particular group and that's the way she acted just really rubbed me wrong, and it's why it's not one of my favorite books, because it wasn't just one scene. It was this woman throughout the whole book. But at the same time, Harry also has an actual real fairy godmother, and I love her. She is also, like, one of the first things described is how beautiful she is and how sexy she is and her body and all of that, but she is kick-ass. Oh my god. I love that character. I love her. So, anyway, there's the first 3 books, and I am well into book 4 now. So, I'll be going on from there. So I can catch up and see what happened after, like, I think it was, I can't remember, book 7 or 8. Maybe it was further along that the book, these books all have 2-word titles. And generally, like, each word is the same number of letters, so they pair up. And this one book is just called Changes. And holy crap, it is probably the most amazing book in the whole series that I've read so far. So I didn't read too much farther after that, so I'll be interested to see how the new books get back into that. Anyway, last book is Hall of the Mountain King by Judith Tarr, and it is one of my nostalgia reads. This was something that I read late high school, early college. It was written in 1987. So this book is part of the Avarian Rising series, the first book. And in this book we have the daughter of a king in this religion. In order to become a priestess of this religion, you have to go on a journey of 7 years. All right, so she left to go off on her journey. She was supposed to come back and then be his heir to the throne. But she never came back. And so here we are 21 years later, and this young man shows up claiming to be his granddaughter, the son, or his grandson, the son of his daughter. But his father was the god of their religion. So he's like half god, half human. And so this king is like overjoyed because, you know, his favorite daughter welcomes him back in and sets him up, and before long names him his heir. And so you're going through as Moiraine is trying to like adjust to being in this kingdom because he was lived in a different country his whole life. And he's adjusting to this kingdom and getting to know his grandfather and adjusting to becoming the heir of this country. And unfortunately, the king also has a mistress, a concubine, who he also had a son with. And so when the daughter disappeared and never came back, this man assumed that he would be named the heir to the kingdom. And then in comes this young upstart and just assumes his place, and so there's some political friction there. It's all about battles and wars and political maneuverings and all of that. I enjoyed it still. I don't know that I would recommend it much to like younger modern readers because the language is very much of its time and a classical kind of fantasy language. It's also a lot of men in this book. We'll just say a lot of men in this book, not a lot of women doing anything in this book. So there's that, but also just, yeah, I don't know. Some things are weird. Some things are really weird about this book. But anyway, it's just in kind of a tradition of like bursts of action. Like there'll be this battle and really cool battles. And then it'll be like just a full long chapter of getting ready for his coronation. I mean, yeah. So it made it kind of a slow read for me. I did end up, I think, landing at 3 stars on it. And it's probably one, if I'd had the physical book on my bookshelf, my nostalgia books, I probably would have gotten rid of it. I don't like it as well as I remember liking it.
That's sad.
Yeah, back when I was a teenager. But I'm going to keep reading. There's like 6 books in this series, so I'm going to keep reading. I didn't dislike it, but it just, you know, I remember this being as one of my favorites. I've already started reading the second one, which focuses on, well, he's the king now, but Moiraine, when he was growing up, the people that he grew up with, there was a young girl that was like his little sister. And so it's starting out, now it's like, I don't know, 7, 8 years later. And so she has now grown up, but she had made a promise to Moiraine that when she was old enough, she would come and use her magic and her power to help him in his new kingdom. She made an oath to him. And so here she is, and they're trying to marry her off, and she runs away. So it's very much kind of like the rebellious princess kind of thing, which I never really liked, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But that's my nostalgia read for the month, so yeah, we'll see. That's all for me.
That's all for us.
That's it. That's all there is.
That was our March reading, our little wrap up there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, go on down below the video and hit the red subscribe button. Join the Everyday Adventure family so you can see our beautiful faces every week with new book videos. Also be sure to go and check us out over on TikTok and Instagram at Everyday Epic Book Club. We're losing my voice. I don't know
Somewhere in there. And while you're doing all that, make sure you check out the rest of Amy's channel because it's not all the book stuff. There is also videos on travel. In fact, a new one that I just loved everything about that video. About her trip to San Diego because it highly featured a friend of mine. So, and he's really funny. So there's travel, there's home renovations, there's home decorating, there is shopping and shopping hauls. And of course the kitty cats always make an appearance in the videos as well. And if you still want more after that, there is more. You can go check out her blog as well for articles that go along with the videos and other features like Watch It Wednesdays and Foodie Fridays. So check it all out and become a part of the entire Everyday Adventurer family.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, well, like I said, hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. And I'm Amy.
And I'm Kelly.
And we are
The Everyday Epic.
We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.